Winds and the grind. The winds and the grind.
Dun 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 dun. Now I'm showing my age.
That was terrible. Let's not do that again.
Let's not ever do that again.
Welcome to another edition of The Winds and the Grind. I am your host, Esco. I am joined by the talented Lisa Tilt, who is just laying down beautiful words on our cheat sheet here. We are in Series 3, Video 3 of The Winds and the Grind. Enable their success through ownership, or
You can't be the hero all the time in intervention.
let them grow. Oh my gosh, did we not hear that? By the way, our failure, let's go ahead and recap our failure. We thought we had it under control. We thought we would interview these people, these wonderful new to the industry, have been in the industry just a little bit of time. And then those that were just on the cusp of getting into their industry, we interviewed them. We thought we'd have so much knowledge to share or, to help them with. And we were the ones that got schooled. We were the ones that got taught some stuff. So this is a great series, only because of the fact that I think it encapsulates how we as Gen Xers, need to understand that there's a lot of demographics out there in the workforce, right, Lisa? I mean, there's a lot of people
There's
that we have
five, just about five. That's crazy. The most ever, right? So that adds a lot of dynamic to the workforce.
So I'm going to start off with a quote. And usually when I'm doing my mission trips with the youth, I like throwing this out there because in most cases, every time we go on a mission trip, the youth learn a lot about themselves, especially because we take their cell phones away. But they learn a lot about themselves and what they can accomplish, because most of the kids that we take out there have never done any kind of construction. And that's what this ministry focuses on. So this is from Marianne Williamson. And here's the quote. And it blows. Every time I hear it, it just inspires me. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We as leaders, we as mentors, we as Gen Xers need to, I guess, enable those and give them the opportunity to be successful. Give them a chance and then see what they come back with.
Yep. It's time, right? And every generation gets to this point where we have this sort of, I don't know if it's struggle, maybe it's an internal struggle, maybe it's something, within the organization, but at some point the handoff has to happen, like a very clear one, right? And you and I have talked about this before, not even near done. Well, maybe you more than me, not even near done in the work and what's ahead and, all exciting times. But in order for us to advance and do things that continue to interest us in the last, whatever, decade of working or two, then, there has to be filling in the gap behind us. You think about, you're walking through water and what comes in behind you at the wake. So that has to happen. And we have to be giving and forgiving in that whole process.
My biggest, and I think now we heard this in our interviews with our young employees, to be, where do they start? Where do they fit in? Now we heard eagerness and we heard a lot of excitement about getting into the workforce and doing things, but there was also I'm not sure exactly how this starts. If this is my first job and okay, great, I got hired or signed all the HR paperwork, what is the first thing that I'm going to be responsible for? And, Lisa, I threw this out at you because of the fact that your business is yours, meaning if you lose a customer, that is revenue that you're not going to be able to take into your ecosystem and quite honestly pay your employees, right? So how do you put somebody that's new to your organization into an activity that is going to be commiserate of their level if they just started?
Well, there's so many layers to that, to even understanding where they come into the organization,
Mm,
right? Even if they're our young ones, could be right out of school, and but even what their previous experience has been, or their kind of interest level, and all of those things, right? So all of that plays into it, and honestly, for us, it's a little bit of touch and go, and kind of seeing where they have interest and self-taught skills, and see where they are really driven to succeed, and then giving them steps along the way, and the explanation, right? If there's somebody doing a task for the first time, it's not just about that task. And we had a senior leadership meeting this morning. We're talking exactly that. Like, what makes for good people management is to explain the context of
mm.
what they're doing. Because when we piecemeal our young folks with just here's a just a task list, and they don't understand the bigger picture, they don't know what questions to ask, they don't know where they fit in. Even if it is, as a young person, you're okay with doing the entry level stuff, but where does my work even fit into the big picture?
Yeah.
And we talk so much about being able to connect the dots, but if we, as people who understand the bigger picture, don't help them connect the dots or figure out, even giving them an environment to do so, they're not going to learn, right? Because repetitive tasks are one thing. And by the way, as Gen AI continues to come on and have those repetitive tasks sort of, some being taken care of, pushing our young ones up into higher level work, they gotta know the context. So it's a give and take, and it takes time. And we've said this over and over again. It does take time to manage people and to bring them along in the process. I don't know.
So you bring up, as you were going through that, you reminded me of concept that I learned from Extreme Ownership, that book by Jocko Willix, and it was a great book. But the premise was, we're gonna take the hill.
Mm,
And if all else fails, we're gonna take the hill. And then, but to your point, the training that we've put you through will allow you to take the hill based on your skill set, based on your MOS. You will be able to take the hill as a group, and we will get to the end of this. And that's exactly what you were kind of iterating right there. And so, to me, as I'm enabling those that I'm mentoring, I've spent time building out, I guess, frameworks or processes, and I've spent hours and hours of building out a framework and a process. So then the next time I do it, the next iteration is 5 minutes. So
mhm.
literally spend 5 hours. So that way, next time takes 5 minutes, and then I can iterate it and iterate it. And the benefit of that is that when I go back and teach somebody something, I can kind of show how my brain evolved, or what the steps are, and how it all comes together again to take the hill at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's so easy to get into the trap of what I call short-sighted leadership, right?
Mm.
Because in the busyness of the day, it's like, we just need to get this done. I'll explain it next time. And then guess what? The next time comes up. It's like, okay, but just do it this time, and I'll tell you the why next time. Right?
And then next time, and then next
And
time,
then
and then
the
next time.
next, right, it just rolls. And it does take, and think about when I think as Gen Xers, I think we survived really sort of this sort of sink or swim leadership style from those above us. It's kind of like, well, I did it and you could figure it out yourself. I mean, I remember being told that. I don't remember by whom, and it wasn't very long, but you're just like, I figured it out, so
Yeah.
can you. And I think that was their way of sort of giving, like, I have confidence in you doing that, but I don't know necessarily that it was a good thing, but probably, I don't know, whatever. Um,
Well,
I don't know.
yeah, I was like, you could say that it was kind of like somebody handed you the baton and just saw how far you would run with it.
Right? Which there is parts of that. I still
Right.
think there's high value in that. And that's
Yeah.
kind of actually a little bit, well, not a little bit, that's what we heard from these folks. It's like, give me the baton. I want to
Hmm.
I want to take it, and I do want to run with it. And I
Right.
think maybe that there's just a little bit of different context where we kind of turn into the lifeguard tower instead of just like
I
sink
love
or
that.
swim. But it's like, okay, here's, even if it's setting strategy or common understanding of the whole team, um, because we did hear a lot from our folks that we talked to, the younger ones, that they're like, look, I would love to take ownership of it. I don't necessarily know how to ask. So can you help me out?
So I think that then comes into kind of the third concept in this whole enabling success through ownership is maintaining or providing uh, I guess the ability maintaining. Hang on, let me think of how I want to say this. Giving our younger people the platform to have a dialogue, because the success of any relationship is done through communication, and there's many different forms of communication. We can have that for another series,
Yeah,
but but
sign me up.
that is the success of a relationship, is being able to have that communication, that constant communication, the checking in. So if I did give you the baton and you did happen to trip, I'm still coming back to check in on you and to figure out where that pothole or hurdle was, so that way we can figure out how to get over this either together. I do it, you do it, we do it together.
Yeah. I think too, as humans, right, we're constantly battling our own demons. And
Right.
so any part of the process, even our young ones are kind of thinking, well, okay, but I asked for this, but I don't really know how to do it. And then there's the fear of
Yeah,
asking, I'm like, oh, I need to check in the middle of the way there. And I think as folks who've been doing this for a while, we normalize the question. It's like,
right.
okay, great. I trust you. Let's take the baton. And by the way, let's have check ins along
Yeah,
the way. Ask me anything whenever you need to, but let's actually set check-in times so we don't that you don't go down that rabbit hole or whatever. And that is building that self-confidence piece and kind
absolutely.
of overcoming that imposter syndrome. Like, I can't, I said I could do it, but I really can't. And that's, I don't think, how I would ever look at it. You just need help along the way.
The biggest win for me
Yeah.
in this type of arena is when my mentees come back to me and just surprise me with how they took ownership, how they blew the doors off of it, and how they took it to the next level on their own without any kind of direction. That is a huge win for me, because I have proud papa smile all over my face. However, that brings up the grind that I have in this particular scenario is, how do I stay ahead of the curve so that way I can still be able to teach them? Because at some point they're gonna surpass me. At some point they're gonna be better at my craft that I helped them learn than I am currently. And maybe that's an ego thing. I think that's an ego thing. Maybe if
Of course it's an ego thing, right? We all have it. But
right.
it's how, and I think it's a win because it pushes me out of my comfort zone. And that's pushing when we operate outside of our comfort zone, that's when we learn, right?
Oh,
And so if
absolutely.
I
Yeah.
know I have somebody like um younger, or even just any kind of colleague who's learning a skill that I might be in, and then it allows me to, gosh, go, explore that further, or giving me the freedom. And honestly, that has taken a sort of a learning from me to say, oh, wait, I have this time now. I can get back into that learning piece that I love so much. I have the time to do that now. And that is the joy of when you bring people along to say, oh my gosh, I could do something different, use my brain in different ways. That is a huge win for me.
So it sounds like enabling their success through ownership also gives you time back in your day and gives
Yeah.
you the opportunity to remember and explore why you fell in love with what you do.
Yeah. And I think that, I kind of have these concepts of like an ownership contract. Like when you're going, it's accountability, all of these sort of terms that kind of come there when you're clear on your deliverables. There's sort of this zero babysitting factor. And then when those click in, whether it's just a sort of an employee manager relationship, or when it's a whole team dynamic, when, and we talked about this, I think, before,
Yeah.
when it clicks in, you feel it,
Oh, yeah.
right? But it has to be that, again, trust for sure. Sort of this contract between everybody. It says, I'm going to hold up my end of the bargain. And when I can do that, that means I can carry more batons, more spinning plates, whatever that
Right, right.
metaphor you want to use. I think that really allows for that uh, growth. to happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Lisa, with that, I'm going to bring it to a close. Thanks for participating. Those of you that are sitting on the other end of the camera in video 3, enable their success through ownership. Video 1, teach and let them explore. Video 2, seek to understand. And video 4, that's coming out here pretty soon, help them understand their relationship with work. I'm looking forward to that one. That one's going to be fun. But Lisa, we're doing great here, even though we started off with a big old failure. You guys tune in next time, and Lisa will tell you what she really wants to call some of these episodes. Bye, everybody.